nutrients, right? So I have already talked about what is nutrition, and I have already talked about what are carbohydrates. I did talk about macronutrients and micronutrients, and we are talking about the macronutrients currently. So we have already completed carbohydrates as one of the macronutrient, and today I am going to talk about the second macronutrient, that is proteins. Yes. So we all know, all have heard about proteins, proteins, proteins. We keep on hearing about proteins, what are proteins, and why do we need proteins. So I'm going to talk about that today. So protein is a very, very important nutrient because each cell of your body, from your hair to your skin to your nails, each part of your body or each cell of your body is made out of proteins. Proteins are called the building blocks of the body. If there are no proteins, the cell will not be built properly. So, it that is the reason proteins are important. For carbohydrates, I had said it is the source of energy, main source of energy. And proteins are the building blocks of each cell. Each cell, each enzyme, right? Whatever the body is producing, it needs proteins. So proteins are very, very important. How much protein we need, I am going to talk about it. First, I will tell you about the different types of protein. So there are different types of proteins, similar to what there were different types of carbohydrates. There are different types of proteins. Now there are complete proteins, there are incomplete proteins, and there are complementary proteins. What are these? So I will talk first about incomplete proteins. Incomplete proteins are the proteins which we get from the plants. Now, why these are called incomplete? Because yes, the basic ingredients of proteins are amino acids. So there are several amino acids that constitute inside a protein. A protein is made out of different types of amino acids. When the amino acids, all amino acids are not present, in that case, that protein is called incomplete protein. Now, whenever we eat plant proteins are mainly incomplete proteins because each plant will not have each or all types of amino acids. So, if we consume only a single type of grain, so say if I am consuming only rice with ghee and salt, then that is not going to give us a complete protein. Only the amount or the amino acids which are present in rice, my body will get that. So plants are having incomplete proteins. Now complete proteins. What are complete proteins? Mainly most of the animals, they have complete proteins. Now why animals have complete proteins? Does our body create any proteins? Yes, create, or we will say they synthesize proteins. When, for example, a herbivorous animal is eating some plants, right? The cows, buffaloes, the deers, elephants, they all eat plants itself. But these plants, when they eat, they eat different types of plants. So they get different types of amino acids inside their body, and some amino acids are synthesized by the body, right? And that is the reason when uh, somebody eats, the people who eat non-vegetarian food, if they eat an animal, so they will get complete proteins. So animal proteins are complete proteins because they eat different types of vegetables, or they eat different types of grasses, and they have several types of amino acids through them, and plus their body is going to synthesize the amino acids which can be synthesized by their body. Now some amino acids are like the body cannot synthesize, and they have to be taken from the outer source only, right? Now there is third one called complementary proteins. Now As I was talking about, these animals, herbivorous animals, eat different types of plants, right? Similarly, when we eat different types of grains or vegetables or fruits, if we eat it in a combination or we eat different types, then we get complementary proteins. For example, we are eating dal and rice. So the proteins inside the dal and the proteins inside, or I would say amino acids inside the dal and amino acids inside the rice, they complement each other and we get complementary proteins from them, right? Then why do we eat idli, dosa? That is the reason we go for idli, dosa and all these mixtures, or khichdi. We form mixtures because we get complementary proteins from them. The proteins or amino acids which are not present in rice, they are present in the dal, and which are not present in the dal, they are present in the rice. And hence, most of the times when we eat vegetarian food, we eat them in combinations, that we eat roti and sabzi, or dal and chapati, or we eat dal and rice or khichdi. So we mix these plant proteins and then we get the complementary proteins. Correct? You got it? So there are different types of proteins. Complete proteins, which we get from animals, incomplete proteins, which we get from plants, and complementary proteins, which we get from combining different plant foods. Right? Now there are different sources of protein. Again, as I was talking, you must have got it. What are the different sources? Yes, there are. These are the plants and animals. Plants, we have plant protein sources and we have animal protein sources. Now, what are the plant protein sources? Different types of grains, beans, grams, peas, or grains means rice, jowar, bajra, all these, and different types of grams. Grams are chana, chola, rajma. These are the beans, soya bean, tur dal, peas. These are the plant protein sources from where we get proteins. And then we have animal protein sources. Milk, non-vegetarian means milk, meat, chicken, poultry, fish, eggs, paneer, all these are animal sources of protein. Yes. Now, how much protein does our body require? This is again an important point where many of them ask. So, in general, our body will require 1 gram of protein for 1 kg of weight. So, if my weight is 50 kgs, I will need 50 grams of protein every day. This is not for a month, this is I am talking about every day. For 50 kg weight, 50 grams of protein every day. For example, one egg will give around 4 to 6 grams of protein. A whole egg will give 6 grams of protein, and a egg white portion will give 4 grams of protein roughly, right? So if you want 50 grams of proteins, how many, if you are depending only on eggs, this is just an example I am giving. If you are depending only on eggs to complete your protein, how many eggs will you have to eat? Around 10 to 12, correct? Yes. So that is the calculation a dietitian or a nutritionist will do depending upon the food habits, what you eat every day, or she will or he will suggest you what you should include in your diet to get the optimal amount of proteins. Yes. Now this was a general thing, 1 kg, 1 gram protein for 1 kg weight. But if somebody, if there are children, they are in their growing age, so their bones are growing, the cells are growing, the skin is growing, everything is growing, right? They will need more protein. They will need at least 1.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. And the similar with pregnant ladies, because this lady has to provide for herself and for the baby which is growing inside her womb. So a pregnant lady would also need around 1.2 2 grams of protein per kg of her body weight. That is the calculation. Got it? Let us revise different types of proteins: complete proteins, incomplete proteins, and complementary proteins, different sources of proteins, plant proteins, and animal proteins. Yes, and in general, if we see how much protein is required, that is around 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight. Bye for today. I hope you are getting knowledge through the live session which I am providing you. If you have any other request you want to learn, you can definitely chat in the type in the chat box. If you're watching this session live, do write hashtag live. And if you're watching this as a recorded, or afterwards you're watching this, then you can type hashtag recorded session. Thank you for today. Bye. See you all.